Thanks for joining us today at Star Media. We have a candidate forum today that affects voters in Luverne's South Ward, which encompasses generally the south half of the city, generally south of Dodge Street. And our candidates, Mike Davis, Lori Hallstrom, and Tom Lanoue, have all declared their candidacy for that seat that is currently held by Kevin Aker. He decided not to file for re-election this year, so that's an open seat. The two candidates who receive the most votes in our August 11 primary election will advance to the general election on November 3 to determine who takes that seat in the city council. All right, guys, so our first question is just the 1-minute introduction, and we did name draw to see who goes first, and Mike will start on the introductions. If you could just tell us about yourself, Mike, for example, what is your current occupation, what your qualifications for leadership might be, and why you're seeking election to city council. And we have 1 minute to for that question.
All right, my name is Mike Davis. I've lived in Luverne my whole life, besides a few years on the road construction. Current occupation, I can't spit it out. I have a tree service, and me and my wife have some rental houses, and we own a campground at the lake. So we do some snow removal and a lot of oddball jobs around Luverne. So it's just something that I've been doing stuff around Luverne. You know, Luverne kind of feeds our income, and that's kind of how it works. And I like to be in a small town, and it's a lot easier than driving to Sioux Falls. So this is where I'm at. Leadership. Let's see. I went to the Blandon leadership training. I've been on the CVB. I don't even know how many years anymore. That's Convention Visitors Bureau. Basically, we spend the hotel tax money to advertise for Luverne. So. Some of that side of that is some of why I'm seeking election. You know, I want to make sure different areas are protected. And I kind of passionate about the staining issue and a few other issues in Luverne. That my minute's about up, so it's Lori's turn.
My name is Lori Hallstrom. I'm a downtown business owner. I've been a business owner in Luverne for 16 years and a Rock County resident for 23. Glass artist for 25 years, and I work part-time at an after-school program called The Loft. In regards to leadership, I was also a Blandon alumni. I've been on city council 2017 to 21, and I serve on the chamber board. I take my time to look into city issues, currently still evaluating some utility issues, and I'm on the Municipal Utility Commission petition. That's about it about me. Oh, I still have 22 seconds. I love our city.
You don't have to fill the whole time, but certainly if that's what you want us to know.
I love our city. I find myself to be very approachable, and people can come to me if they have questions, and I'm really good at seeking answers.
Thanks, Lori.
Hello, I'm Tom Lanoue, and I've been a resident of Luverne for well over 30 years. I've also been employed by the school district and taught middle school science for that same 30-plus year time frame. In the summertime, I've also done different jobs here. Currently, I've worked for the city public works for the last 5 years, and I've gotten to know kind of lots of the ins and outs in the cities and kind of the mind-boggling events that all take place to keep the city running the way that it does. Qualifications for leadership, I'm part of the Zoning and Planning Commission currently, and find out, too, that that is also more involving than one might guess. I've done different leadership spots and positions at the school as well over the years. And I'm seeking city council because I really enjoy the community here. My wife, my kids, it's been a great place to raise a family. And there's a lot of community pride that happens right here. And as I slowly see and reveal more layers of happenings at the city, I guess I find myself wanting to know more and be involved more.
Thanks, Tom. Our first question will be directed to Tom. We did a name draw and you were the lucky one. So we want to know, what would be your top priority if elected to city council? And we have 2 minutes for your response.
A top priority, I think keeping the town as vibrant as it is. The city of Luverne has done a very nice job of being more proactive than reactive as to maintaining and doing things, and they are future forward thinking, and I'd like to see that continue. I'd like to see the city find and continue to find more ways for economic development, which also increases your tax base, which really helps everybody. Other priorities, I think, in town are people feeling heard. There's a little bit more animosity that seems to be going around town, and people seem to be a little bit disgruntled, and I think it's maybe a national trend, but it definitely happens here in our community too. And I think it's really important that people can feel safe to be heard also without being attacked at the same time. So I think that's also a priority for us here. I would love to see us keep all the amenities that we have, and as budgets ever increase, getting tight, finding creative ways to do that. We love all the services that we have in town here, and I find out when family and friends talk about the things we have and that we're doing, they don't have those same experiences that we do. So let's keep our town as nice and as vibrant, I believe, as it really is.
Thanks, Tom. All right. Lori, would you answer that question? What would be your top priority if elected to city council?
Well, it's kind of nice because Tom actually touched on several issues that are really there. Communication does seem to be a very big issue. Communication between our city government and the residents. Also have a lot of questions regarding how our money is spent in our town. And we are a very progressive community, but we have so many assets at this point. My bigger concern is maintaining what we have, making sure that we protect it for the future, and stabilize ourselves so we can advance with progressions. A good example is saving green space in our downtown. We had proposed a plaza years ago, and due to COVID and administrations, there's been halts to a lot of things, and there's ways to go about it through grant funding and volunteer work to save the space for future use. And I do want to touch on the communication again. If elected, I've always been someone that people can approach, and I have no problem reaching out to city leaders as one. I plan to ask more questions myself and continue to be an advocate for our citizens.
Thanks, Lori.
You're welcome.
Mike, what would be your top priority?
Well, these guys are good. I mean,
They are good.
communication is huge. I get a lot of people that come up to me and say, "What's going on? What's going on with this? What's going on with that?" And some stuff I can answer them a little bit, and some stuff I can't. I believe from City Hall to the council, I mean, we need to let people know what's going on. That's huge. They need to be more direct on what dollar amounts are getting put into what we have, how we're subsidizing. I know we're using our electrical department to subsidize a lot of stuff, and that's important that we have all these nice things, but it's also important to tell our people where our money's going. I like how Luverne stays nice. It's a beautiful town. I mean, we're complimented a lot at the campground. We've had 4 or 5 people come into the campground and actually stayed in Luverne and moved to Luverne. One big thing too is also what is a starter house? I question that. I don't know if the $279,000 house is a starter house. So I question first-time homeowners. I remember it used to be a ranch-style house. Now these starter houses are like castles. So I paid $70,000 for my house 10 years ago, and now we're looking at $270,000 houses. I'm just questioning some of it, what we're reaching for, what our goals are. Empty lots, I'd like to see them filled around town. I don't think some of these empty lots we should maybe try to get rid of. If a neighbor can break them up, we need to, this so the city don't have to maintain them and then put them back on the tax base. And then obviously the staining issue. I don't think it's over. Every winter it comes and gets worse, and I'm getting a lot of problems even down at the lake, and my neighborhood is getting covered with staining and nobody's doing nothing about it.
Remind us, so that's the staining, that something is in the air
That
causing
something's in the air.
discoloration.
And
Yes.
to me, this is no different than if you paint a water tower and you damage somebody's car or house. Whoever's doing it should be held accountable.
Thanks, Mike. All right. So if we want to move right on to, are you guys all right? We'll move right on to question 2. And this one's kind of, that's why I'm glad it's up on the screen for you to read, but it's a little bit of a 2-part. And this is something that we've noticed at the Star Herald. The city invests utility revenues into economic development, infrastructure, arts and culture, parks and recreation. These are quality of life type amenities, is how we talk about them. They're the pool and fitness center, the ice arena, parks and trails, the Chamber, Palace, History Center, Carnegie. There's a lot that we have invested in. Do you support these investments, or would you change this approach? So, Lori, you get to go first on this one. What would be your approach? Do you support these investments, or would you change it?
I actually support investing in any amenity that we've already invested in. We need to maintain the amenities that we have. The one struggle I have is when we continue to add rather than just focus on the maintenance. Examples of spending. I know money was spent on a recreational thing when I know that there was maintenance needed on one of the city buildings. And it did not go through the city council or administration. And that's an example of wanting some transparency about where the monies from the utilities are going. And so I do support continuing to make sure that those amenities are available, that they're run properly, that they're safe for our community. But we need to wrangle in excessive spending when we don't need to add to at the current moment.
You do have a little time. I wondered if you wanted to tell us what city building that was that they invested in. And
Actually, to my understanding, is the rec center. So they chose to add an amenity to the building, and my understanding is there's maintenance that needs to be done, serviced on the roof that has to do with environmental issues inside the building. Sure. And when you have maintenance issues, or if you use money that was maybe set aside for maintenance and you choose to add an amenity rather than even repair equipment that's even inside the facility, that's a concern. And a situation where money was spent without anyone really knowing that's where it was going to go.
okay, so there was an amenity added when there should have been money spent on
repairs and maintenance.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Lori. All right, Mike gets to go next on this one.
Mm-hmm.
How would you support or not support these investments? Would you support them, or what would you change?
Well, I do support them, but I do think we need to really pay attention to our spending. And I'm not sure exactly how it works with the city, if they give their department's heads an amount of spending and they get to spend it. I think the council should wrangle that up a little bit better, and maybe some years there ain't. And as even, but some of the stuff I'd like to see invested. I'd love to see some more money spent at the lake to get the lake in order. They had us form a committee, spend time getting the DNR, and we got a good start. I mean, we got the unsafe concrete cleaned out of the beach, and then we got a little bit of digging done, but there's a lot more to do, and I kind of think right now everybody's going to put it to the side. So when I have blighted property, the city gets on me about it, but when they have blighted property as the concrete on the other side of the lake, it's falling on deaf ears. So you can't force a private individual when you don't do it yourself. So, but as far as, I like everything we got, but I just think it needs to be wrangled up a little bit and see what are we spending on each thing. Can we afford it? And is there cuts we can make somewhere else? Or, maybe it's, do we know what something costs, like the cooling unit on top at the pool? Is it a $300,000 thing that we do every 20 years, that's our 15 years, that's costing us $20,000 a year? We got to let the public know what they're getting, what they're spending, and how much we subsidize these businesses, especially the ones that are trying to be for profit. They're trying to make money. We need to know, how can you have a lot nicer things if you can't afford to keep your doors open? So I don't want them all, but I just got to figure out how we can make it happen by working together.
So your question was how you would change this approach, and you would suggest perhaps a list of all these things that we subsidize and just
how much we spend on them and where this costing is going.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah. Tom, you get to take a stab at this one.
Do the same thing, and I agree with both Lori and Mike, and that the amenities that the city's offers, I would love to see them all continue as they are. also, like Mike said, we need to be budget conscious, and just like your house, there's lots of wants and needs, and there's only so many places you can responsibly spend money. So that being said, all these things there, I would support keeping these things and spending the money on those. And I know, like Lori said, I just spending a little time down at the Public Works office, and Mike, maybe you'll find the same thing, that there's times where the intent was there, or all of a sudden a sudden opportunity shows up. With the lake being really dry, for example, there's opportunity there that wasn't planned or budgeted for. And so the budget also needs to have some of that extra project money in it to tackle things when the opportunity exists. When you open up a building too, sometimes it's like, I wasn't planning on doing that, but if we're going to do it, now is the time to do and tackle some of those different things. And I think all the things that we talked about, the ice arena, fitness center, parks, the history center, chamber, all those things, if you had to pull 100 different people and put them, rank them in order, I think you would get a variety from everybody. So which one of those is the most important? Which one of those is the priority? That's kind of where the struggle comes from. Yes, we would like to wrangle a budget and be very responsible in our spending, but also be equal opportunity and provide opportunities, amenities for people with different interests and different means of entertainment, fitness, transportation, all the things that go along with that. So it's kind of a tough question. How do you keep all your amenities and keep your budget in check? I think that's a city council question for everybody, I think.
Thank you. You guys have great responses to these, because I know they're not easy. I am going to throw out a real quick follow-up. We didn't necessarily address, right now, a lot of that funding is coming from utilities. Mm-hmm. And part of the question was, in budgeting for these amenities, would we change how we fund them? Right now, they're utility. A lot of them are funded through utilities, some of them exclusively from utilities. Mm-hmm. So let's just, real quick, let's do a minute apiece for you guys and answer this. How about we just reverse order? Tom, you go first, and I'll give you a minute. Maybe you don't need a minute. I don't know.
Yes. So a lot of them are funded through revenue from the utilities. And I've heard lots of different things on this. And people say, well, let's be more transparent. If you want to call that a tax, call it a tax. Don't fool us and put it on the utility bill. I've heard other people say, well, yeah, maybe that's not where it should be, but it is a good user fee for people in town. Everybody uses utilities. Everybody has access to all the amenities that we have. If you're a property owner, you pay extra property tax. If you're a renter, that burden doesn't come to you directly. And is that a way to do that? I'm not sure that's the right answer or not. But I've heard different opinions on this one right here and how to do that. And I'm not sure what the best oversight is. I guess I would say ask your city council, ask questions, ask them where the money's going. And I don't think I've ever asked and not gotten an answer on those things.
Okay. Then we will go to Mike on that. The question directly then is, do you support that budget approach, using the utilities revenues to support these quality of life amenities?
Well, I don't know if I support it 100%, but the truth about it is there's the other ways could possibly doing it would be to up our property taxes, and I really don't support that. So it's a hard thing. I mean, you gotta, if you're on the council, you gotta listen to whoever. You gotta listen to your area. What the people, you gotta listen to what the people want. I mean, I know they want a lot of this stuff, but if you get a bunch of people that come and approach you about something, it's really not all about what you want. It's about what they want too. So, yeah. So I do support it, but I think we really it's a hard question, and we gotta figure out what's in the people's best interest and ask them, not ourselves.
Thanks. I screwed up your little clock here. Sorry about that.
You're good.
So, Lori, what are you thinking? So we're asking our council candidates, you will be in a position to affect these decisions. So currently, these quality of life amenities many of them are funded a lot through our utility revenues. Would you support that continuing as a budget strategy, or would we change this approach?
I would like to investigate more how we capture actually the money that we get from our electric utility. Our utility rates have gone up significantly in the last decade or so, and we have one of the lowest wholesale purchase price with one of the highest residential rates. So when you ask me something like that, the utility should be able to afford all of those amenities. Yet we hear talk about how we have to capture more tax money and we have to do this, that, and the other thing to continue these things. But we have a cash cow. Is it being operated the way it should be? Are we capturing as much revenue as we should? Because if we were, then this question becomes a lot easier to answer. So would I support it? I support the utility investing in these things because it's a main way for us to get revenue to support these things. I'd like to see more oversight in regards to how it's done so that it's not a political decision and it's a need. But again, these are things that are what if that happens or how can we go about it? And so, yes, I support it, but there's a lot to go to it.
Thank you. And thanks for being willing to do that spur of the moment follow-up. I just wanted to make sure that we were addressing kind of the heart of that issue. So we have our final question, and I believe that Mike goes first on this one. And this is, again, regarding these utilities, because it is really important right now. So if the charter amendment passes in November and a new utility commission has financial authority, how would you plan for the impacts to the city budget?
How would I plan it? Well, I tell you what, you would have to listen to the commission a little bit and see how they're going to direct their money. This deal with signing the petition on this for this charter, I signed it both times. And the only reason I signed it, for the most part, I mean, there's many different reasons, but the biggest reason, this thing gives the people the right to vote. And I have a belief at a certain dollar amount, it needs to go to people, not just the council should have the right to vote. So I guess to plan for this commission, if it makes it, it's more people you got to deal with, visit with, decide how to make it work. Maybe nothing's going to change. Maybe it's going to change a little bit. It doesn't hurt to have an extra, set eyes to look at stuff, but also how much is it going to cost us too? Right now, I don't have my mind up which way I lean for this yet. I do see super strong points, both sides of it, and I'm probably not going to make my mind up till the day I vote. But I'm going to listen to people and see what they think. So, I guess I'm not as concerned with the current administrator and financial, and I think they're trying to get our budget better. But what we did before, we're paying for now. I mean, some of the expensive lots we bought, the Sharkey's property, the Low-Pow edition. There's a lot of stuff. And the bike trail was there, but there's some really good things we got, but some things that are sitting empty right now. So they're paying for what we did in the past. So with this commission happening, I think we can work with them if it does happen. That's my opinion. Whoops, I'm beating on the desk. But.
Yeah. So how would you plan for the impacts of the city budget with those revenue changes?
Well, how do we know we got a plan for an impact? How do we know? I don't think this thing's going to happen in a minute. It's going to take some time to get it going.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I think I've got Tom on number 2 for this one. Again, how there will be impacts to the budget if the charter amendment is approved on the November ballot. And I guess what our residents are going to want to know, again, then is how do we plan for these budget impacts?
All right, so the charter amendment as proposed, I think there could be some real positive things, as Mike said, and I don't think there's a lot of unanswered questions about that. How sudden would the impact be? Would it happen immediately? Would it impact the very next budget? Is there a slow implementation period? It seems like there's a lot of questions yet to be answered, how it would be run, and maybe some of the bylaws that would set up how it's governed and how they decide where the financial piece goes. To that, I think there's a little worry about who's in charge of hiring or firing utility employees, who's the true overseer. I would hope it doesn't make a power struggle between the current council and the committee is, all right, you're stepping on my toes, you're stepping on somebody else's toes, that's my responsibility, or no, it's not. So I think there's some time. I would like, if this goes through, I would like to think that there's a slow implementation period instead of just seize control and take care of the financial authority from that point on. But from a city budget, that I don't know how you would take out that big a slice of pie and try to make it up all of a sudden. So I would like to think the two groups could work together on that and come to decisions of, here's the status quo, how are we going to slowly make a change to that for all these different things? Because there's a lot of people that are going to be sitting on their hands and breathing heavy, wondering if they're going to have jobs and funds to do all the amenities that are employed with all the amenities that we have right now. So that would be my recommendation. If it does go through, let's figure out a cycle or implementation period, how we can adjust and take hits to the budget and accommodate for all those different things.
We already know that Lori's on the petition committee for the charter amendment, so we know that she supports the charter amendment. And I believe, Dave, you have...
Mike.
Sorry, Mike. I believe you have also supported the charter amendment.
I support that everybody gets the right to vote.
I think I saw your signature on the petition.
And I did it for one reason, because it gave the people the right to vote.
On how the money is, okay.
Yep.
And so, Tom, would you support the charter amendment?
I support what Mike is saying, that if we follow the guidelines, what it takes to get it to the election, the people should indeed vote on it. As I
It's
read it right
already
now,
going to the ballot.
So it is, and I support
Yes.
that. So I support it being on the ballot. The way it's written right now, in my view of that, there's a bit of work that needs to be done before it can be on the ground and running. So to me, there's a lot of questions to it yet.
Thanks, you guys. Sorry about the curveball at the end, but it's an important part of this election, so I appreciate your honest answers. We have just the final recap.
I still have not answered.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry,
I would
Lori.
like to, actually, if you don't mind,
No,
as I'm on the committee.
Yeah.
So I would like to address, I was actually a late addition to the MUC committee. I showed up at a meeting when they were first going to start circulating petitions. Now, the information itself was not new to me because it had been discussed during the 2024 candidate debate forum with our mayor and Isaac DeBoer. Discussions of high utility rates, concerns about trajectory spending, and even a PUC was discussed then, which stands for Public Utility Commission. I eventually was asked to be a part of the committee because they needed certain numbers, and if I'm willing to circulate a petition and sign it, I'm absolutely willing to be on the committee. And the reason why is I had my own questions about our electric utility. Multiple residents asking me, why are our rates so high? What is going on with spending? And that's enough of a question for me to say, I don't know if this is the perfect answer, but what is going on now is not working. We have a great opportunity here. If it's elected and chosen to go into action, it'll take about 1.5 years to implement because we will have to elect some of the members of the MUC, City Council, and the financial director and the city administrator will have to work closely with them to navigate that. It's something I believe can be done. I've also heard concern that people are worried about losing their jobs. Frankly, I don't foresee people losing their jobs, but I do foresee changes in departments as we navigate situations where people are not doing the job they were before if an MUC goes in place. But again, we won't know until we do. And so hopefully we'll see how it goes.
Lori.
You're welcome.
We're going to now go into our 1 minute recap. And we had Mike start on the introduction, so we'll just do reverse order. If you want to do a 1 minute recap, why should voters choose you versus the other candidates?
Well, I have no ill words to say about either one of the other candidates, and actually I kind of admire them both. But I guess I kind of got nudged a little bit into this. I got involved a little bit, and then a few other people nudged me, and their comment was, "You are one of the most non-biased, level-headed people that I know." So I am open to finding information and drive my wife crazy when we make big decisions. It's not just a snap decision. I got to find out the hows and the whys and why is this better than this, or why is this a different choice than this? So I like to think that's what I bring to the table. Is I'm an open-minded, logical thinker, I guess. And also keeping in mind with the budget that it's tough because everybody wants to pay less without giving up more. You want to give less and take more, and that's a tough thing for a city budget to do. So,
Thank you, Tom. So I think then we do, Mike, if you want to do your 1 minute recap on why should voters choose you this election.
Well, they don't have to. Yeah, these guys got a lot good to say. But
You're
but
running
what
for
I'm
the
going to tell you,
seat.
I'm running for it, and I do believe a lot of people come up to me and a lot of people talk to me, and they ask me questions, and I will stick up for them. I will stick up for them above myself under all situations that, I was on the township for a while, and there's a few things that I really didn't follow that much, but it was in the best interest of the community to vote against what I was thinking. So I did. I voted against my own thoughts because you got to go for the majority. So I guess I do listen to people. I listen to what they want, and for some reason I get a lot of people that come and approach me about stuff. I don't know if it's through trees or through the 4th of July stuff or what, but I'll do my best to put their interests first. As long as if they don't speak up, we can't hear nothing. So that's all I got to say about that.
Thank you, Mike. Lori, why should voters choose you?
Well, I love our town, and I actually think this is a great year for Luverne as far as South Ward goes. You've got 3 candidates that are highly approachable. And regardless, you've also got 3 candidates, whether they are elected or not, will continue to go address issues because that's something we've been doing all along. I like your vote. I will continue to work for the city of Luverne, look into issues as they arise, and I am hoping beyond hope that these 2 next to me, if one of them is elected instead, they'll do the same. And if one of them is elected beyond me, I'm going to bother them often, just like I do everyone else. So regardless, hopefully you'll vote for me, but I think this is a great year for that.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Lori.
we really need approachability and communication.
Thanks to all of you. Thanks for coming in to be on Star Media today. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Thank you for being in the hot seat. And mostly thanks for stepping up to run for election. That's not a small thing, so we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Thank you to our 3 candidates today for stepping up to run for elected office and for spending time with us today on Star Media. Be sure to visit the Rock County Star Herald's website and click on the 2026 General Election tab to find out all the information you need about this year's election. We have background information on the candidates. We have filing information on who's filing for which seats, and we will also publish the results from the primary election and the general election as those come through.